Good morning, y'all, and welcome to my tack room. I usually keep my tack inside during the winter. We get really cold, really wet winters here, and there becomes condensation in my horse trailer, which leads to mold. So, my guest room is my guest room slash office slash tack room in the winter, and it's finally getting to above freezing enough of the time to where I can move them outside again. So, it's not organized, but it is filled. So I love seeing other people's tack rooms. I love to see what gear they use, why they use it, and oftentimes I find some gear that maybe I hadn't heard of before or learn something new about some gear. And it's always fun to find new things and try new things out. So come along with me and you can see mine. First off, you can see my cooling sheet. This was Cheyenne's. This is one I got off of State Line Tack, I think for like $25. But it fits great, works great, and does the job. Not every good piece of equipment has to be expensive, and I love this thing. Next you have my custom shaps. I just keep them over my saddle here. These are from Arrow M Saddlery. She is based in Eastern Washington, and she does a heck of a job. I absolutely love these shaps. They're a little bit dirty right now, but I personally really love the form-fitting shotgun shaps. I think they look really nice. They feel really nice, and there's not much to get caught up in something if something were to happen. So these are fantastic quality. She does all kinds of custom shaps, some with a floral pattern down the side. She can make whatever you want in whatever color, and it is fantastic quality. I highly recommend Arrow M Saddlery. I also have a custom pair of saddlebags that I'll show you later on in the video, also made by her, and could not be happier with them. She's on Facebook, and if you're interested in any kind of leather Western goods, look her up. She's got a little bit of everything, and if she doesn't have it, there's a good chance she can make it. She does purses and wallets as well. So, and she's just a fantastic human being on top of that, and a horsewoman herself. So definitely a company I love to support. All right, on the top, we have my childhood saddle. It's the first saddle I ever had. It's by a brand called The Rider that I've never heard of before. It is a 15-inch. I was 5'10" at 10 years old, so I grew very quickly. So my parents got me a saddle that I could grow into. I think I've had it since I was 6 years old. It actually fits quite oddly. Once I got older and learned about saddle fit, the gullet's quite narrow and the tree is quite wide, so I don't ride in it anymore. But I do use it as my colt saddle because if something were to happen to it, it wouldn't be the end of the world since I no longer actually ride in it. And you can see my little custom rigged setup for... I was trying to learn how to put a pack string together with my previous colts, and this was kind of my makeshift solution, inspired by skijoring. So you got to get creative, but it worked great. And here you can see my main saddle. This is a roping saddle by Teskey's. They're out of Weatherford, Texas. I actually was fortunate enough to go visit this store, and if you're ever in Weatherford, Texas, I highly recommend it. It was Toys R Us for adults. You can see I haven't done a spring clean on the tack yet. It's been extremely busy, and that'll probably come in about a month. But this has been an absolutely amazing saddle. It fits me very well. It fits Cheyenne very well, and hopefully it'll fit the other horses good. It's a 7-inch gullet, 15-inch seat, and full quarter horse bars. The quality on this is fantastic, and I've been extremely happy with it. And I think it's just a beautiful saddle. And here is my custom pulling collar from Buckaroo Leather Products. I believe they're based out of California. This little guy needs to be cleaned up too, but I absolutely adore it. It goes great with my saddle. I got it for Cheyenne. This will be on Kitty next now that Cheyenne is retired, but even in its current dirty state. It is absolutely beautiful. I think it's elegant and classy and complements my horse without drawing attention away from her. I don't really like the overly gaudy tack, but I do like classy and fancy. And for me, this is really that. And the heart is just really cute. Alrighty, up next we have my saddle pad collection, which will be continuing to grow. Many of these you've already seen before. Here's one of two of my diamond wool pads. I've got another identical one down here. I have one that I've ridden in for years, and then I had a friend actually gift me the second one, so now I have a backup. Here is my bareback pad. I've had this since I was, probably early teenager. So when I started out in natural horsemanship, I practiced Pearly natural horsemanship up until about early to mid 20s. So a lot of my tack from that era is Pearly. This was kind of an expensive pad at the time. I'm sure they've gone up even more, but it's great. It's got the wool on the bottom. It's suede and leather, and I've used the heck out of this thing, and it still looks brand new, and it's, probably pushing 15 to 20 years old. So, but this is a Pearly bareback pad. Regardless of how you feel about Pearly or not, this is a fantastic product. If they're still made the same, I totally recommend them. Next is my Impact Gel saddle pad. I bought this for one of my previous colts. I like to color match, do things that are either match the color of my horse or complementary. So this is a little Pally colt I had named Suede, who went to a good friend's daughter on the west side of the state. And at the time, they could just give him a lot more time than I had. Miss him every day. Anyways, this was his pad. I've never gotten to use it, but I'd heard good things about the Impact Gel, so still very interested in trying this. It had been on him once or twice, but I never actually rode in it. So very excited to kind of put this to the test. And in another video, I'll do a review on this as well and give you my honest thoughts. I'm clearly not sponsored by anybody, so these are all unbiased reviews. If you haven't already checked out my saddle pad review that I did a few weeks ago, definitely go check that out. And here is my best ever pad. Absolutely love this thing. These are my favorite pads. I'll be getting a lot more of these. I've got my eye on a Navajo one for Tucson once he's older. He's going to be 1 year old on May 17th. So he won't be started until he's 3. I don't start them at 2 years old just for developmental purposes. Their joints and their body just isn't ready for that yet, in my opinion. But I love buying tack. So, and this will have it already. Anyways, so this is my best ever pad. Getting back on topic. I really like this. I'm going to be buying many more of them for every reason. If you guys have questions on any of the things that I have in here that I already haven't reviewed, let me know, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Here's my 5-star pad that desperately needs cleaning. This wasn't my favorite, but it's definitely not a bad pad. It just has a tendency to slip out the back on Cheyenne. We'll see how it does on another horse. It was my barrel pad, but I may keep it, even though it's not going to work. It's just thinner. It's not going to work for and it's just smaller in general. It's not going to work for my roping saddle. However, eventually I'm going to get a mounted shooting saddle, and it may work for that since they're much lighter. So I'll keep this guy around, and it is beautiful. I absolutely, again, it's fancy but classy, not overpowering, but just enough to really compliment my horse. I had this on Cheyenne, who's a bay, and it looked stunning on her. And then, last but not least, I got this little guy. This was actually my dad's saddle pad back from when he rode when I was a kid, and it's got the really nice, you can't see it in the video, but it's really thick, and it's got reinforcements inside. So I've never used it, but it's nice to have around if you need a backup or maybe having some saddle fit issues. It's just nice to have on hand until you can get that solved. Speaking of weather issues, this is what I have in my trailer to try to keep the moisture out. I just put it in this little trap here. I think I got all this on Amazon, and it works well, but it just doesn't completely resolve the issue where I live. It does get quite cold and quite wet here for at least 6 months out of the year, so it's got a tough job to do, but it does well for what it is. And then I can't recall if this is a 20 or 30 gallon water tank, but I have that here, and it's got a hose along with it for when I go horse camping. And here is my collection of horsemanship flags. You can never have too many. I keep one in my trailer usually, minimum, and then I keep usually another one out the round pen or in the hay shed or something like that. So have a few options. And then this little lunge whip from back when I was a teenager. I did write English for a while. I've always ridden Western, but I really wanted to get into 3-day eventing, so I did a little stint in English, and that's where that's from. But it's always nice to have around. You never know if you might need it for something. Here's where I keep some extra halters and leads and things in my horse trailer. This one I just bought from a company called Naughty Girls, and they are based in Washington as well. I really like my halters. Everybody's got preferences. My personal preference for the rope halters is just them being very soft and pliable. The halters I like are the Naughty Girls and the, I believe it's called Double Diamond. Naughty Girls is made in Washington. Double Diamond is made in Montana. I got this one for Kitty. I've not used it yet after she kind of had that blow up in the trailer and the halter knot got too tight to get off. Which is not good in a situation like that, especially if you can't get it on properly and they're worked up. So I got this as an alternative. It's still a rope halter, but it's got this biothane strap back here and it uses a proper buckle, so it'll hold up. They've got it screwed on pretty nicely. It looks good quality. We'll see what it's like in the future when I've put it to use. But I figured for now, while she's just figuring things out. If she gets a little worried, we still have our rope halter, and it's still going to be perfectly safe and sit on her nicely. And it's got this little ring attachment down here for your lead. I've got always backup halters and lead ropes laying around. I do have some web halters. I try not to use them. I prefer my rope halters, but these are really nice if you're cross tying or like for Tucson right now, if I think he's going to be in a situation where he might get worried, I'll put a web halter on him just for the fact that, again, it's not going to tighten down. And for a yearling horse, he's still growing, so I'm not going to buy him something nicer like this, just because they do cost a little bit of money until he's fully grown. So for now, it's pretty rare when I use a web halter on him, but I do have these around just in case, because there are applications where these are nice to have. And then here's one of my spare double diamonds. They have the Riata. They have the Brannaman collection, and they have the Riata collection with a lot of fun colors, and I've got one in almost every color. This guy needs to be cleaned up pretty badly. Once things get back into a normal swing, I usually do a pretty good job of keeping my leather clean. I'm usually kind of type A about that, but right now that's just life and it's not happening. But this is one of those hybrid halters from the Horse Education Company that I got for Cheyenne a couple years ago. I think they just look classy and they're beautiful. I got her name on there, and she has been the best mare, and she just deserved something nice. She was far enough along in her training where she can use a hybrid halter and it's fine. You still have some applications of the rope halter, but she really didn't need the correction or the refinement to always have the rope halter on her. So this worked really well for her. I usually mainly used it for trailering and taking her places instead of just every day, but you still can cross tie in these. You can cross tie in a rope halter, but it's dangerous and it's not recommended. So these are nice. It still has the chin clip, which I really enjoy, and she's dirty, but it's very nice quality, and if you've been on the fence about one of these, I recommend it. I also got one of their lead ropes, which is really nice. It's beautiful and really high quality. The lead ropes are a little bit more expensive, but they are beautiful and they are very supple and definitely a nice product. Last but not least, I've got one of my spurs. I know these are controversial. People will die on either side of the hill if they're positive or negative, but my stance on everything is it's a tool, and if it's used properly and if it's helpful, I think it's a good thing. You can see my spurs are quite small and quite blunt. The application I use for these is when I started ranch sorting on Cheyenne. She gets very worried when there's a lot going on. She just has more of that like frantic mindset. And just using my heel was too blunt for her. So I'll see if I can give you an example while I'm holding my phone, but it's a difference of this, how clear this is versus how clear this is. So versus the heel, when you have more surface pressure, and you can obviously feel it, but it's not as direct. Whereas if you use your thumb, if you're going to move like your horse or your spouse or whatever, we could experiment on yourself and see for yourself. It's just more direct pressure and it's more clear. And so for Cheyenne in the moment, when we're doing something like ranch sorting or team petting and things like that, for her, it's so fast paced. She gets pretty worked up pretty quickly. And so this was much kinder than me having to like really put a lot of pressure frequently with my heel. I could just do 1 or 2 requests with the spur, and it was much kinder and much clearer to her. So everybody's has strong opinions, but this is what I use. I don't recall what brand these are. I don't have a Murdoch's locally, but I think I found these at Murdoch's in Kalispell or ordered these. But they're beautiful. I think they look really nice, and it's just enough for Cheyenne. They work really well, and it is just clear communication, and clear communication is kind communication. Here is my second set of spurs. You can see the spinner on these is a little bit larger. They're still quite close together, and it's still relatively small. The first pair is honestly what I prefer. Sometimes you can't find the size that you want, but these have been great. You just have to be more conscientious that the tines on these are a little farther apart and there is a little bit more of a corner. So when you're using them, you have to be conscious of that, and just make sure you're using them kindly and just watch your horse's reaction, and they'll tell you what is working and what's not working. I've got a spare fly mask in here if I end up needing one trailering. And then this is my tack set that I may or may not have bought for Tucson already in November. They had a Black Friday sale going, and I've been eyeing this 2-tone set for a very long time, and once it went on sale, I couldn't pass it up. But I think this will look absolutely stunning on a buckskin. These are really unique. I don't see tack sets like this very often, and I just had to have it. It's beautiful, it's classy, it's tooled but not over the top, and I cannot wait to see how this looks on him. And then I'll show you the matching headstall here in a minute. I have the rest of my breast collars here and some spare reins. A lot of my tack sets are from Weaver. I absolutely love them. I think it's really nice quality for a really reasonable price, and I've had great luck with them. The only thing I would recommend is on the headstalls, on the Chicago screws, you can put clear nail polish themselves, and that helps just to, because the Chicago screws on any tack, but I've experienced it on the Weaver stuff. The only negative to the Weaver is they do back out sometimes, and so what I do when I buy them is I just get some clear nail polish and I put them on the Chicago screws, screw it back in, and I've never had a problem after that. So this is Weaver. I believe this is called their Back in Black collection, and I have a matching headstall to this as well. And again, this was for Cheyenne with her black saddle pad, and it looks so good on a bay horse, let me tell you what. So we'll see Kitty or Tucson will inherit this. Once I have it sized to a horse, I usually just keep them in that. This is another Weaver breast collar. This is a cheaper one I found on Marketplace. I got it just for the wither strap, to be honest. I think that's adorable and really unique. And then I have some paracord reins for my very brief stint in barrel racing, but they are nice. They clip on and they work really well. Some spare leather reins here. And then I have this beautiful mohair breast collar. I can't recall who made it, but they did a fantastic job. And for Cheyenne, her color is maroon. So this was hers. So one of the other horses will inherit this now that Cheyenne's retired, but absolutely love this mohair. All right, and here's our buckaroo leather headstall. This is the one that matches that breast collar I just showed you. So it's beautiful. Again, it is two-toned, the beautiful tooling on there. I love the buckle accents they chose. I asked for a thinner headstall. I just a personal preference, I don't like the big thick ones. So this is more flattering on him without taking the focus off of my horse. So this will be Tucson's. It still has the tag, but this is the brand Buckaroo Leather Products. Fantastic people, fantastic products, and I highly recommend checking them out. And then you can see I just have matching headstalls for some of those breast collars over there. Yes, some of these still even have the tags on. When I tell you I have a tack hoarding problem, I am not kidding, but I absolutely love it. Here is another Weaver headstall. This is a mechanical hackamore that I had recommended to me for Cheyenne. And again, I know people have strong feelings about mechanical hackamores, but I let my horses choose what they like and don't like, and she loves this. It's got this noseband that is kind of like a hard lariat, but it does pivot. So it's on a joint here. So it pivots up and down, so it'll move with the horse. And then the shanks on it are also on a swivel. So this can swivel laterally there. And it's got really nice movement. The chains are to keep it on there, but it's so loose that, I mean, it's really not making contact with her. But Cheyenne is one who's prone to tossing her head, and she does not do that in this. So again, I let my horses pick out what tack they think is comfortable, and for a horse that will absolutely tell you when she doesn't like something, she does not do any head tossing or any kind of negative reaction in this. So for me and for my mare, this works really well. This is probably one of my absolute favorite headstalls. It does have the thicker brow band, which I'm not a fan of, but this does look really nice on Cheyenne. And it's got all these beautiful floral accents on it. And the rose there. And then it's got these beautiful reins that you can get that match also sold by Weaver. And then I love this quick attachment. You don't have to mess with the screw or anything on these. So they're super easy to put on. They stay in place. I've never had an issue with them, and I put a lot of miles on these. And then here you can see, these are the screws I was talking about. They do have a tendency to back out. Here's some more. So if you just put clear nail polish, if you take these out, put some clear nail polish on the screw, and then put them back in, they stay put really well. So this is the bit that I like to start my horses in. It's a 3-piece snaffle O-ring. Everybody has their strong opinions on snaffles as well. The reason I chose this and the reason I've stayed with it is because it's gentle. The more breaks in a bit, the more gentle it is. In the English world, they call it a French link snaffle. In the Western world, I've heard it referred to as a dog bone. But the more breaks in the bit, the more gentle it is. I've never had a negative reaction from a horse from the single joint, but I'm of the mindset, once you know better, do better. And I've switched to this. My horses really like it. I also keep a wider mouthpiece on it. Everybody thinks that the snaffles are the most gentle thing you can put in your horse's mouth. And while that can be true, what people don't think about is that on a bit like this, it all moves as one. So when you pull on the reins, the whole unit moves together. Where on the snaffle, it's meant for lateral movement, right? And all the pressure when you move the bit, instead of all moving as one unit, all the pressure goes onto the bar of that horse's mouth, which is completely fine. I love snaffles. I ride in them all the time, but it's just something to be aware of. And when you have a thinner mouthpiece or a twisted mouthpiece, you just have to know that when you're using it, when it applies pressure, it's directly on, it's all concentrated on the bar of their mouth, which is quite sensitive. So it's just something to be aware of. And for me personally, that's why I use these. It's just a little bit of a wider mouthpiece there, and I've been happy with it. My horse has been happy with it. So that's what I stick with. I've never had any issues with the O-ring pinching the cheek of my horse. If I did have an issue with that, obviously I would address that. They've got those rubber rings you can put on there to kind of like be a mouth guard between the bit and the horse. That is an option, and every horse is built differently. And if I were to put this on Kitty or Tucson and have that issue, I would definitely implement one of those. But with Cheyenne, we've just never had an issue, and she's so sensitive, she would have definitely told me. So for me, this setup has worked very well, and I've been really happy with it. Here is the Weaver Back in Black headstall for Cheyenne. I actually had some custom conchos made for this. I can't recall the gentleman who made them. He's out of Colorado, but I really liked it. Just something I like to have tack that's a little bit different, something nobody else has. And it's hard to see, but you can see a moon in the mountains on this one, and heart and sunrise on this side, which with the native thunderbird right there. So I really liked this. I have some of the paracord reins on this. They're roping reins. And I used this when I started doing more cow work and needed something that's going to be, I could ride one-handed. This is the setup I went to. I even got a bit that matched. I was extremely excited about this. This is a working cow horse bit. Again, with my horses, I take suggestions from people, but ultimately, if you have a friend that has a bit that you're interested in, see if you can borrow it and try it out, because just like with people, what works for one horse might not work for another. It doesn't mean it's a bad piece of equipment. It just means that particular horse doesn't like it, or maybe you as a rider aren't as efficient with it. There's all kinds of variables. So I just let my horse tell me what she likes, and ultimately, this is what Cheyenne picked out for herself. So flip it back around. It's a short shank junior cow horse bit, and again you can see the shank is quite short. I don't recall what the measurement is on this, but it's about as short as you can get, and this independently swivels, and then the mouthpiece here is a jointed piece, and so each side moves independently, so when you pull that rein pressure on there, so this one in particular I guess does not move all as one unit, but it is still not that direct pressure on the on their mouth like a snaffle, but moves independently, so you can still kind of two rein when you want to, and it's a little bit more gentle. But Cheyenne absolutely loves this bit. As far as this bit, her mouth is quieter in this bit in her junior cow horse than she is in a snaffle. So she really likes this. I don't have a lot of issues with her, but she seems to be a lot more relaxed in this bit. So I don't know if it is just the relief of tongue pressure here, or just where the pressure point hits with the chin strap in more of the pressure on her pole. I don't know what it is she likes about this, but she definitely carries herself even quieter in this bit. Here's one I had for Kimber, who was Kitty's half sister, and I'm personally not a fan of these one-eared headstalls most of the time. They look really nice, but I've had a lot of experiences, luckily not with myself, but I've seen other people, they'll fly off if they're not cinched down really tight. And I don't want to cinch, for me personally, I don't want to cinch my headstall down really tight. I want that pressure in their mouth to mean something. So I don't want to cinch this up so tight that it's tight all the time, and when they feel pressure, when I'm asking them to do something, that it doesn't mean anything. So on this one, I actually took this to Arrow M Saddlery, and she put a throat latch on it for me, which is really nice. So I can still have the look of the one rein, but have the security of the throat latch that a brow band headstall offers. And then I found this beautiful snaffle bit that it was maybe not as high quality as the others, but it just looked really nice. And it all swivels. Again, it's a 3-piece with the swivel here, and all the sides move independently. So I just thought it was a nice looking bit, and she seemed to like it. And here's a custom one I had made. That, to be honest, it looks cool, but I'll probably just use this one for decoration. Again, it's a 1 year that I had a throat latch put on, and the details are beautiful. I absolutely love feathers, absolutely love turquoise. So I got to design this, but just on the horse, I wasn't as happy with this. But it's beautiful, and I paid a pretty penny for it, so this guy will probably just be decoration. And then here's a little backup. It was not, this one I don't believe is Weaver. It was just a more inexpensive version of the Back in Black that I had, and whoever made this, I'm not as fan of the quality on this one, but it was just a nice little backup. And I wanted to try out this little snaffle. This is a cheaper snaffle of this style. I just wanted to see if I liked it before investing in a higher quality one, where you could put a clip here and almost use it like a leverage bit without the port. So that's what this is for an experiment. And to be honest, it's been so long ago and I really hardly used it. I can't remember what my thoughts were on this bit, but that is what that is. Here's my newest piece of tack and my absolute pride and joy. This is a Vince Donnelly custom Bozell and hanger that I ordered for Kitty. And I could not be happier with the quality and how this turned out. So Buck Brannaman has an online course that you can, or a video library rather, you can pay X amount of dollars a month and watch a lot of videos that he's done bringing a horse through the bridle horse process. And this is my first time doing it. I've never ridden it in a Bozell before. But with Kitty, I've done a lot of really fun things with my horse, but I've never made a finished horse. And so with age, I went from doing a lot of like the fun, crazy stuff when I was younger, which was great. And I learned a lot. But now with age, I would really like to finally make a really nice finished horse. So I'm going to start in the snaffle first. I've had, the reason for that is just my own anecdotal experience. When I was younger, I rode in my rope halter all the time when I was a teenager. And on Cheyenne, with her specifically, she learned to push in her halter when we go running and stuff. And she lost that lightness. And so I ended up bringing her back into a bit. And I mean, I still ride her in a halter. I've still ridden her bridleless and she's done great. But I don't like to do that on a regular basis because after her learning to push, not saying that Kitty would do the same, but I would rather learn from that experience and make sure that she's learning lightness first, so that's foundationally there. So if we were to lose feel in the Bozell, I could bring her back in the bit and get some of that refined response from her again and then move back in. So that's how I'm going to do this with Kitty. I'll learn from it. If I learn a different way, a better way with Tucson, then I'll adjust. But as of right now, that is my experience, and that's why I'm doing the snaffle bit first with Kitty, and then I'll move her into the Bozell. But so Buck Brannaman, on his online library, he had this really neat video of going through his tack of what he owns and why he uses that. And if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend it. It was a really educational video. Because I'm new to all this, I don't have any experience with it, and I don't know how to determine a good quality Bozell from a not good quality Bozell. And Buck was going through the different makers, and of course he's got a whole collection. And he was going through the different makers he has his tack made from. And there were several names, but Vince Donnelly, you could tell he got the most excited about. He kept bringing it up. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do it, I am very much a believer in buy nice or buy twice. And again, I don't know. I'm not educated enough in the Bozells to determine for myself if something's good or not. So I'm like, if he's good, if it's good enough for Buck Brannaman, it is definitely good enough for me. So, Vince Donnelly's on Facebook, so I just reached out to them, and they've got a whole bunch of pre-made Bozells as well, and beautiful hangers, beautiful Macatis. So I had this made for Kitty. I had it measured. I picked out the colors, and this is their, I believe their Vaquero style Bozell. They had a working horse, the Vaquero, and a even more refined one than this, but they are quite expensive. So this one I believe is the Vaquero option. So it's very soft. It's very supple. It's brand new. It's never been used. They did shape it for me. But it's beautiful and I cannot wait to use it on Kitty. We're probably a good year to 2 years out from actually needing this. But I've got it when we're ready, and eventually I'll get the Macatis. I tried the traditional Makati for these are the horsehair ones, and I finally found a place locally that had them. I touched them and immediately not for me. I know they're traditional. I know a lot of people have a lot of really great things to say about them, and I wanted to like them, but the texture of it was not for me. So I see that they have alpaca Makatis and other materials, natural materials. So I'll likely, before I order any, again, I've got time. So hopefully get my hands on some that friends have, or if I find them in shops, and find out what texture I like. I'd really rather not have the yacht rope ones. But I would like some kind of animal fiber. So I'm thinking alpaca, but we've got some time between now and then to figure that out. Here are the custom saddlebags that Arrow made for me. And they're extremely high quality. I'm really happy with these. And once we get to horse camp in the summer and doing some longer trail rides, these are going to come in very nicely. Tooling's nice. You can get them customized. And she's got different leather color options too. I just got this one to match my saddle. Here's my rope bag. My large collection of various ropes in here. For someone who doesn't rope, I've got a lot of them. I would absolutely love to breakaway rope. I live so far out of town, and all of the practices are typically in my area on a weeknight, so it's very difficult to get to a practice on a regular basis. That does not kill the will to do it though, so I've got some dummies at home I practice and do what I can, and hopefully one day in the future I find something closer to me that I can actually go to on maybe a weekend, or that I can make after work. But I've got my large collection, and at least in my mind I can be a novice breakaway roper. But this is one that I really wanted to highlight. This is a horsemanship rope. I got this from the Horse Education Company years ago. I looked online the other day, and I don't think they sell these anymore. You can get one from the only other place I found them is the Pearly Natural Horsemanship site, but they are 2 or 3 times more expensive than I paid for this. So hopefully there's another maker that has the same quality that is more reasonably priced. But what this is I believe this is 32 feet long. And you can't rope with it because it's so soft, but it's pliable. It's extremely soft, and it's got this nice little snap there, so it attaches to their halter. But it's made for working with your horse. And with Kitty being so reactive to the flag right now, we are going to work through that. But for the sake of time and really wanted a cold start, I'm going to move to this. It's 32 foot long. I have a 50 foot round pen. So this is more than half of the diameter. So the nice thing about this is, if you live in an area that's got a lot of those like goat heads, I know regionally everybody calls it something different, but those little pokey things that stick in your normal lead rope, your yacht rope, things like that, and it hurts when that touches your hand. So I got this that it'll avoid it, the sticker burrs, the goat heads, whatever you want to call it, doesn't stick to this. But also the nice thing is that there is extra slack, and so when you have the coil, you can use the coil to like slap against your leg, or to, do this to create energy to move them forward. So it still has the same effect as the flag, but it's not as scary to them. So I think I might use this for Kitty. I can use it on her in the round pen and not be chasing her around. If you haven't seen that video that I recently posted about teaching her how to manage emotions, go back and watch that, and you'll see what I'm talking about with her. But I think I'm going to move to this, but it's a fantastic tool. I've had this for years. I've used it quite a bit. You can see she's starting to fray. I should probably get that burnt so it doesn't keep unraveling itself. But if you could get your hands on one of these, I highly recommend it. It has been one of my absolute favorite tools, and I didn't think I was going to love this as much as I do, but I don't know what I would do without it these days. Highly recommend. And this will be organized here in a month or two, and the carpet cleaned. But for now, I just wanted to show you some of the stuff I carry in here. Have my normal brushes, bell boots for Cheyenne. She does overreach, so I use those on her. Some of my grooming tools. This has been my absolute favorite detangler. It's affordable, it works fantastic, and it smells really, really nice. So if you're looking for a new detangler, I highly recommend you checking this out. I think it's a really good investment, and the horses really like it because I'm not pulling on their hair. Here is my drink holder for my saddle. I had this custom made from a shop on, oh, here it is, Drink Slings. I had them make this for me, and I replaced this with ribbon. The rope it came with broke, so I just replaced this with normal ribbon. But you tie this to the D-ring on your front stitch, and then you can tie this around the front of your saddle or the horn. But when you're on a trail ride and you want your water or whatever adult beverage, you can put that in there. However, from experience, I will tell you, if you're practicing hitting a stop from a canner, it will eject your drink. So, personal experience, just letting you know, there are limits to what it'll hold. But if you're riding reasonably and not doing that, if you're just walking, trotting, even cantering, this actually works really well. So, shout out to Drink Slings, or there are a lot of other brands that make these, but it's been a fun little addition. And they make great gifts. I've gotten them for several of my friends. You can put their name on them, and it makes really good birthday gifts and Christmas gifts. And it's just kind of fun and something that a lot of people don't already have. And who doesn't like something custom with their name on it? So makes for a fun gift. And then you can see I've got all of my, or some of my horse boots in here. More bell boots. More boots here. Again, this will be organized a little bit better here in the future, but for now, just working with what I got. And then on the door panel, I just have a few items that I like to have handy. Largely a first aid kit, but also random bits and bulbs. Some of this is older and needs to be replaced, but Wonder Dust for wound powder. So if you're on the trail and somebody gets a cut or something, I have this on hand. Hard to see it, but gauze pads. Got some vet wrap. Roll-on fly repellent. This is great for around their ears and their eyes. Here's just random trailer bits and bobs. And then I have gloves. These were from my English days. Those are my gloves. This stuff is fantastic. If you've never heard of Spur's Big Fix before, so wound, skin, hoof. So I got this for dealing with thrush, but this is also great for if your horse has a cut, if your horse has sweet itch, like Cheyenne gets in the summer. Hers is starting to pop out. This is all natural. It's made in Alabama, I believe. You can see for even more extreme wounds, it's been recommended, but if you are like me and want to just mitigate chemicals on your horses and like to support American-made products, this is a really good product to check out and something really nice to have in your horse trailer, and you feel good about it. You feel good about this going on your pony. Next I have a leather hole punch, self-explanatory. Here is just some construction rope. This is what I use for breakaway. This is the part that breaks away. And then Cowboy Magic. I have absolutely loved this for bath time for the babies. It's been a great conditioner. More show sheen. Here's for those of us with light colored horses. If you got a gray, if you got a pally, you got a buckskin. This stuff works really well. Also, if you want to use white wine vinegar, if you want it all natural, that actually works very nicely as well. I've heard ketchup works, have yet to be brave enough to try that, but I will be testing that at some point in the future. And then just a fly repellent. I've heard Avon Skin So Soft works really nicely for it, so I might try that one of these days, but for now it's just a standard fly repellent. And then more Cowboy Magic. If I can talk. Super Shine. Here's some hoof boots that I got for Cheyenne. She's a Mustang and she has the hardest feet in the world. But for when you're in the mountains, where I live, there's a lot of granite and whatnot. And that's the only place she's ever gotten a hoof chip, is up actually camping at Mount Adams. So I got these for her. I've never used them, but I do have them just in case. And then got a little saddle sponge and some Waspus' spray and some little random pieces of leather. I think that was for my drink sling. I am very grateful for the horse trailer that I have. It's taken great care of me. However, you can tell that I could definitely use a little bit more space. And the dream is a couple years, it'll be a couple years down the road, but I would love a saddle house. And I had a friend years ago who was very handy and built his own. I will be purchasing mine or paying somebody to build it, but he had, I can't recall the dimensions, but a large tack room. He had way more saddles than I have, but he is older, so give me time. I will get there. But it was beautiful. It was, you could walk in. It was his own building, and it had saddles on one side and bridles and stuff on the other, and his ropes, and it was just really nice. He could temperature control it, so you can put like a mini split in there or something like that. So even in the winter, even just a heater would be really nice. So in the winter, your butts stay warm for your horse, and it keeps the condensation in the mold out. But what was really cool about his saddle house was he built a little porch off the front of it, and then he had a hitching rail right outside that. So he had a mare named Kitty, a little red mare named Kitty, super cool little mare. And he would get done riding the arena or on the trail or whatever, come back, and he'd put her on the hitching rail, give her a grain, and then he would, put her tack away, and then he would sit there and have a drink, sit in there, relax on his porch, and kick his feet up on the hitching rail while his mare Kitty was tied up and eating, and it was just like a relaxing, serene moment. And I was like, I've never seen anything like that before. I don't know if he saw that somewhere else and got inspired or thought of it himself, but it was the coolest setup. So for now, I'm extremely grateful for the tack room in my trailer, but future Megan is going to build that saddle house, and I cannot wait till I have the room. I can be more organized in here, and I would love to be able to sit with my Kitty with her on the hitching rail and eating her grain while I sit there and have a nice water or adult beverage or whatever, and just stop, admire my horse, watch the sun go down. And it's those little quiet moments, I think, that mean the best. So future plans. So here it is. That is my tack room. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, I absolutely love peeking inside other people's tack rooms and seeing what they use, hearing specifically why they use that product. I feel one of my biggest pet peeves is in the horse world. People go to a trainer or have a lesson, and their trainer or their friend who's more experienced or whomever recommends, like, you need this bit, you need this piece of tack. And without doing any research, without asking any questions, they just buy it. And that is one of my biggest pet peeves. So I really enjoy when people share their experience on what they use and why they use it. And I personally learn a lot that way, because everybody has something to teach you, and things what to do, what not to do, if they've had an issue with something, or if something specifically has been a huge game changer for them. So I love those videos. So I just wanted to give you guys a peek inside my tack room. Tell me what products you guys like. And again, on future review videos, I'm trying my best to do once a month a review video, and I really enjoy them for the same reason. I appreciate when other people give feedback. Tack is so expensive and it adds up so quickly, and it's nice to do your research and make sure when you do make that investment that it is likely going to be A, the quality that you're looking for, and B, actually serve the function that you're looking to serve. So anyways, that's mine. Again, check out Arrow M Saddlery. Mackenzie is the shop owner name, and she is just an absolute doll. She's a rancher, she's a horsewoman, she's a mom, and she puts out beautiful beautiful quality products. And like I said, she can make you about custom anything if it's made out of leather. So highly recommend Arrow M Saddlery on Facebook. Again, I'm not sponsored by anybody, but I do want to promote small businesses specifically. I'll promote any business that I really like and believe in. Especially when it's a small business like that who puts out, in my opinion, better quality than the majority of the big box stores. I love to do so. So thanks for coming along. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.